So I calculated how much time I've played on Destiny using the time wasted on Destiny. If you didn't look in general, guess how many hours I have logged into Destiny 1 and 2 combined across three platforms.
Several million.
Mm, I'm gonna guess 850.
Those are rookie numbers. What are you talking about?
Listen, the only games that I've broken 1,000 on, I don't want to talk about.
Pokemon?
Oh, maybe. No, I've got like 2,500 hours or something stupid to CS:GO.
I have over 2,500 hours in Destiny.
Very nice.
Nice.
I need to close my door.
Yep, my door is closed, my music is off. Alright, welcome to Now You Know Destiny, and we are finally back with a full episode. You are joined by the man who has so much time in his hands. He has played the death out of Destiny, Vulshok Berserker.
And I am the hunter with the not-so-master plan of trying to get back into my house.
Are you recording outside your house?
No, I forgot I'm not Caden. I'm LostAngel of Havoc.
And I'm the hunter who's had his neighbors seen him make too many attempts to get back into his house. I got locked out a lot as a child.
Oh man.
For me, I grew up in that real quick. I grew up in that transition period where I could go out of the house and be like, "Oh, just be back at sunset," or when you hear us yell. I would just go across the street to play with the kid in the other house because he had a trampoline and we both had lightsabers.
I already know where this is going, and I love it.
So we would just jump on the trampoline, playing like hit each other with lightsabers.
See, I'm a little jealous because I lived in a rural, middle of nowhere place, and I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't walk anywhere.
Sucks. Didn't have any fun times like that, Play?
Nah, because I grew up in Montgomery County, so like it's.
Of what state?
I grew up in Maryland, so
okay.
Where I lived when I actually finally like developed a social life enough to feel comfortable going beyond like my house and stuff, like, you know, I could just go to downtown Silver Spring or something and hang out with my friends there, and there's always a movie theater or a mall or something close by, so there's always lots to do. I just didn't really do much until I got into high school and started hanging out with friends more.
I get you. All right, the topic for today's episode is The Fallen. Now, this will be another multi-parter because there are two events for sure before we even get to the beginning of the game that are just like huge in terms of like importance. So we'll stop at the beginning of those events, and if anyone can guess, it is Twilight Gap / the Reef Wars. Now, Twilight Gap itself has like a lot of known famous guardians in it, but the amount of like information is less than the Reef Wars. So we'll cover the Twilight Gap, but we'll cover the first initial thing of Reef Wars and then stop there. But anyways, let's start at the very beginning. The oldest information we have on the Fallen is when the Traveler arrives. And this is the beginning of their own golden age, which I don't think they actually had a name for their time. Oh, not really.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
We haven't learned about if they had a name for it.
Yeah, what we know about the Fallen at the time, Elixni, because they weren't named the Fallen yet. They had a system of houses, much like they do now, or did in Destiny 1, where they have a leader, higher ups, it's like a hierarchy system. They've always had that. The concept and setup may have changed over time, ranking and stuff, but when the Traveler arrives, they have a very similar house system. And since it begins a golden age for the Fallen, some infighting starts happening, much like the faction wars for the city. But this one is called the Edge Wars because it almost drove the Fallen to the edge of, I believe, extinction is what they called it, or the edge of destruction. And luckily, the houses of King and Judgment stopped the fighting. Now, We don't know exactly how they stopped it, but we do know they either used an overwhelming force or very persuasive actions. Given that it's the kings and they're very secretive nowadays, they could have been secretive back then. And House Judgment, which had Varix in it at the time, he's a very old Fallen. I think he is the oldest Fallen alive at current timeline
That we know of.
that we know. I mean, yeah, that we know of. I mean, further down, we learn that the Kell of Kings is killed by Uldren, and Varix is like, oh no, the last Fallen who was alive before the Whirlwind is gone. Now it's just me. Anyways, the Elixni had a different name for the Traveler, which was the Great Machine. And this worship you can see reflected in the Servitors. Orb gives them the precious ether they need to live, and they do worship them as well.
The Elixni culture, and even still through the Fallen culture, is all about the worship of machines. And so the Traveler, that's kind of like the origin of the name of the Great Machine. It was the machine that gave them the most, and so they called it the Great Machine.
Yes, and as with all golden ages, all things must come to an end, and much like us with our collapse, the Fallen experienced a cataclysmic event, which is known as the Whirlwind. And this was an event that scattered the houses of the Fallen, and the Traveler also left them to escape whatever had caused the Whirlwind. And during the Whirlwind, the Fallen lost everything and essentially went from being this once great and proud race, and were now broken up and scattered, and essentially just the pirates that we know them today.
Now, there is one infamous Kell who was alive during the Whirlwind, and we have believed to have been killed during the Whirlwind. His name was Chelchis, because it's Chelchis. Chelchis. It's almost Scottish to me.
Could be, yeah.
We know he was around during the Whirlwind because in the Taken Kings raid King's Fall, there is is it scout rifle? It's a scout rifle named the Doom of Chelchis. Chel. And the flavor text is, where is the Great Machine? Where is the Great Machine? Which is implying that it's gone now, and they have no idea where it went. So, there is one running theory that the Whirlwind was the Hive showing up, and that Oryx killed him, and the only piece of evidence we really have of that to hold up that theory is this King's Fall scout rifle that has a Fallen in its name. Many people were like, why does a Hive gun only reference a fallen Kell? Possibly because he killed by Oryx. Because I know, if I remember correctly, the other weapons, the raid, have other enemies Oryx has slain in the name of it.
There's one other item. Well, technically two other items. One's kind of the same, just the exotic version from the Age of Triumph.
Yeah, the Broken Crown.
Yeah, there's the Broken Crown, and then there's the Adept version of the gun. But the Broken Crown has flavor text that reads, Elixni songs still tell of Chelchis, Kell of Stone, who stood before the Maw.
Yeah, the only problem is we don't know what the Maw is.
Yeah, I mean, the Maw could be the darkness.
The Maw, the word Maw is usually a reference to a skull or a jaw.
Right.
Or something of like such terror, it's like you're walking into the mouth of a demon or something like.
Which I would argue
like
can still fit for the darkness, almost as if you see it coming and it engulfing
swallows you. Yeah. Okay.
your system.
there is credence to the fact that pyramid ships are chasing the traveler.
Right. And the exotic version of the Doom of Chelchis reads, "All is silent, nothing answers me, the hunger comes," which I believe there was a theory that someone proposed. I think it might have been Beard, actually. But there was a theory that could possibly relate to him being taken.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure he was taken.
Yeah, so I mean, who knows? We might have killed Chelchis.
I mean, yeah, I doubt it. He would have been a named enemy.
It'd be a name we'd know.
Given that, it would be a name. But like I said before, it's like these few items are the only reference we have to this theory. With the other theory being that it was the pyramid ships that killed him. Given we have more, I would say, precedent for that.
Oh,
Who dropped this time? Frog, are you?
it was Havoc.
Okay. So I said you twice. Cool.
Yeah, you did. But don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I lost all my audio.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh no.
I had another session open and I stupidly clicked on it.
Ooh.
That's why I don't touch my audio stuff at all. And we don't have much information on the whirlwind. All we know is that it was their collapse. The houses scattered, and they fell from grace, or fell from their technological advancements, and like how in real life humanity lost hundreds of years of technological advancement as we fell into the Dark Ages.
Or how, like in Destiny,
in real life, Dark
there was
Age.
also Dark Ages where we were.
Yeah, but their technology, I wouldn't say. I mean, it did regress.
I would still argue it greatly regressed. Maybe.
Yeah, it did. You're right. It did. I just don't feel like it regressed because they still have sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, but it's always described that the Golden Age is super sci-fi stuff, and
Yes,
I think
that makes
I
sense,
think it's
yeah.
more than just technological, because imagine just the state of the world in Dark Ages. There was
That is true.
was
I don't think.
tribal. That's not quite right.
I don't think the Vanguard or current day city has records of history, good records of history before the Golden Age. So it's possible they lost that info. I don't know.
Wait, sorry. Can you repeat that for me again?
For example, there are works of art that exist in real life and in Destiny,
Right.
but they don't. Like, Zavala has a piece of classical music, and it doesn't seem like he knows the full history behind that art, that music.
Sure. Yeah. No, we didn't lose everything.
So to me, it seemed like we kept some stuff,
Perhaps.
but there's chunks of history that we know today that they don't know then.
Right. Perhaps humans were just better than the Elixni at creating bunkers and things that would stay safe through something like a collapse.
Well, I think humanity in the Elixni-wise, humanity is more secretive in nature. I feel
More
like the
scheming.
Elixni learned that after they fell from grace. Because they seem to be... they were a very noble race.
Mm-hmm.
They honored tradition a lot. But they became space pirates after the whirlwind.
Right.
So that struck me as like, they are fallen, they fell from grace, and they're no longer
Well,
the great people they were.
just think about the human Dark Ages, human Earth. I'm not really sure what I should call it because we've got the Exo and the Awoken. While they became pirates, we became warlords.
Right.
No, Guardians became warlords, though.
Well,
No non-Guardian was a warlord.
right. I more meant to say that we became
no
warring
reason.
people. I guess.
True. Right. The Black Armory Papers does show that very well.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. So, I mean, we acted similar.
Just goes to show the effect of the
Anyways.
collapse, which, like, can't really...
Oh, yeah.
I can't really blame the Fallen for how they dealt with it, but, like, we grew out. We fixed ourselves for the most part. You can do the same. Come on. We got better.
Yeah. Anyways.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, we don't have much records about this time period for the Fallen, and all records afterwards usually resume when they arrive in the system during the Dark Ages.
I believe it's thought that they followed the Traveler as best they could, and that's how they arrived in our system.
Yeah.
My personal theory, now that I know the pyramid ships were chasing the Traveler, it's possible they followed the pyramid ships knowing it tracked the Traveler. That's why they showed up after the collapse, was because they were behind the ships. That's my personal thoughts.
So if the collapse is pyramid shapes, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
And then they were trailing behind. They probably lost a lot of technology, so they can't keep up with the speed of the ships.
Oh, you know what? I think that makes a lot of sense, because imagine our golden age, like just timeline-wise, our golden age is the Elixni Dark Age. And so that's when they were gathering themselves.
Yeah, could be.
And
Could
that's
be.
why they had to follow the pyramid shifts and not the Traveler itself.
Yeah. And my rough estimate of our golden age was like around 300 to 500 years, because it's credited that human lifespan has tripled, and you can't know how long life has tripled if it's less than 300 years.
Right.
Like, how would you know if someone can turn 300 if the golden age was not 300 years old? Or 300 years long?
That's fair. Like, the only exception or nitpicky thing would be, like, the moment the Traveler arrived, it saved a 140-year-old man, and it was only 200 years. But that's, again, extremely nitpicky.
Yeah, like Captain Hardy. He was, like, 80-something, but he had the mind of a 40-year-old.
Right.
Like, hitting it sharp, like, precision and focus-wise. So it shows there was immediate effects. But I'm saying, like, standard of living really affected the next generation. That's why the golden age was so long. So you could say that between 300 to possibly 600-700 years was the time period for the Fallen Dark Age, or at least the period between the pyramid ships attacking the Fallen and coming to us.
Right.
Given that, it's been 2 years since the end of D2 Vanilla, and they were outside the galaxy, and the pyramid ships came from outside the galaxy to our somewhat outer ring of the galaxy in just 2 years.
3 years, actually.
3? We're in year 4? Dang.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, we're about to be.
This September,
yeah.
right?
Okay, yeah, so like around 3 years it took them to go to more, definitely faster than the speed of light. So this gives credence that the Fallen were behind the ships, couldn't follow them, but assumed they were falling in a straight line.
Yeah, fair enough.
And before we jump in to this solar system section, our solar system and our Dark Age appearances of the Fallen, I put in a little section of the hierarchy rank of the house. Frog, would you like to cover?
Sure. So the Kel had a tributary system of ether, not unlike the Hive's tributary system. And so at the very top was your Kel, the ruler of a house. Did they have the Kel of Kells in their Elixir? No, so that is post Whirlwind.
Kel of Kells is only Skolos.
Okay, and then there was the Kel of Kells, which was the ruler of all Fallen, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And there is the Archon Priest, the scientist of the house, the you could call it, I almost want to say advisor, but that was more the representative of the House of Judgment.
Kinda.
Because each Kel, back on the Elixir homeworld, each Kel was given a representative from the House of Judgment to aid them in their decision making.
Yep, right. That which means that the House of Judgment was the only house, to our knowledge, to not
Have a Kel.
directly follow. I mean, they probably had a Kel, but like not directly follow the other houses' hierarchy.
Right. They
Because
were
usually you don't mix in with other houses, and they're like, yeah, we'll be a high-membering official in all of the houses for advice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't have a Kel because it was their job to assist the other Kels. And
I mean, probably.
the way their balance system works, it just feels like it'd be too much power for a house if the House of Judgment had a Kel. Anywho, So below the Archon Priest is your Prime Servitor. We all know servitors very well.
Not really. I wouldn't say the Archon priests
below.
and the Prime Servitor are below. They're around, like they're like the same level because they are higher up and serve different functions.
That's fair.
Kind of like probably similar to where like a knight and wizard both sit at the same space.
Or like
hierarchy.
like how if the Kel is the CEO, the Archon priest and the Prime Servitor is your board of directors.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Prime Servitor was the main ether generation source for the entire house. And so it had as much credit and worship as almost the Traveler.
I forgot to add this, but the Prime Servitor had control over all other servitors in the house.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know how, really, but it told the other servitors where to go, what to do, where to get ether, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. It was...
So, and the Kel had control of the Prime Servitor, so if you crossed the Kel, he would pull servers away from you, and he would starve.
And then, now it's sort of going down the hierarchy list, is the Baron. He would be the leader of a battle. You could consider it perhaps like a general, commander of a whole army, if the Kel is the king. And then your captains, sort of something that would lead a regiment. Vandal, your typical foot soldier. And another one to note is the Dreg. Very bottom of the list. Someone...
The cannon fodder.
Cannon fodder. A fallen
Yeah.
who had essentially messed up, committed some crime, and they were punished by having 2 of their arms removed. They could no longer grow from ether.
Yeah, they put metal clamps on the arms, so they couldn't grow back. And because it seems like the Fallen have regenerative abilities.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
The process is called docking, I believe.
Yeah, docking. Varix had his arms docked
Yeah.
quite often, I think, but now he just has robot arms, like a boss.
I was gonna say arguably cooler. So
Yeah, arguably cooler.
if it's
Yeah,
if that's a
which-
win for us, it's probably a double win for the Fallen.
I mean, a lot of Fallen have robot pieces, because since they worship the machine so much, they, like, the Splicers later in history love to augment themselves, like Taniks, or Sekris.
Mechanicalness is next to godliness.
Yeah, they see, that's like the Archon Priest, for example. He was the head scientist, and all of the research division under him focused a lot on ether production, or creating servitors that were better at ether production or made more ether. They also researched in body enhancements, machine upgrades, that kind of stuff. It's just in the case of the Devil Splicers, they took it too far.
Yeah, they found some really good tech and had fun with it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's basically the layout of a Fallen house. It's Kel, Archon Priest with the Prime Servitor, Baron, Captain, Vandal, and Dreg.
And I feel like another one that's worth of note, at least, is the Fallen Marauder, because it's a very common enemy we find in our Destiny playthroughs.
Oh yeah, They always strike me as, like, I would say, like the Assassin Vandal.
Right, but
Or the Scout.
I went to double check on this, and they are a class of Fallen Assassins specifically for the House of Dusk.
Ah, okay. Interesting. But why would the House of Dusk need assassins if they're the only house left? They wouldn't use it for
they're
political
not, though.
gain.
There's not much political
They're not
gain.
the only house of devils, though. I'm sorry, they're not the only house left, though.
Not anymore.
When they were first formed, they were.
Well, the Marauders are also a new enemy specifically to Destiny 2.
True, yes.
True.
So, as much as they're used against other houses, they're probably used against us more.
Yeah, I mean, we kill a lot of them.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's jump in to the Dark Ages. The exact beginning of where the Fallen show up in the Dark Ages is not exact. We just know when they showed up, they got really mad at us when they found out that, like, the Traveler stayed for us and not them. So, they started raiding villages, killing people, taking our stuff.
Eating people.
Yeah, they...
Eating people. Yeah, they ate people. I mean, it's not cannibalism for them. Like, it's like how we hunt, like, a bear and we eat it or something.
Right.
We're not really a bear, a cat, like a boar.
I mean, people used to eat bears. Probably not common nowadays, but
Yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, like yeah, you know what I mean.
I do.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I got chills when Saint 14 was speaking about his experiences with the Fallen.
Oh yeah, how they ate children.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I wouldn't like that part because I mean, people do eat like baby deer, or I mean, there's also a specific name for like meat from a baby cow.
This is
a weird conversation. So,
It is a weird conversation.
but no, yeah, the fallen showed up and they were angry, essentially because
Oh, yes.
we were
Mad.
to see us blessed by the traveler when it had left them, it had abandoned them so violently.
I mean, it would make me very mad. It's like you're
I'm not saying it's not justified, but like eating us is
I mean, we about to face the consequences of all this in November, so
heck yeah.
So I'm actually really interested to see where that goes, and hopefully we get actually maybe Aramis's motivations will shed a little bit more light on to what exactly happened in the world.
we have some information on Aramis we can cover at one point
Yeah, we can throw it in.
because
Well, I'm
she
saying-
is in the lore already.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll have to go over that during this whole episodic portion on the Fallen. But I was just thinking in terms of like potential backstory stuff that could
If I had to,
possibly be
I
included. and
think
beyond, like-
the lore entries on Aramis has been around since Forsaken. If not Forsaken, the season after Forsaken. So she's been around. Anyways, so they start raiding, they start killing people, they start eating people. And this is also around the time where they start finding resistance in certain parts. They start encountering Risen or Iron Lords. A few names we may realize are, Rezil Azir or Saint 14. They were big Titan forces that stopped a lot of the Fallen activity
Correct.
in the early days. Not alongside, but with the Iron Lords. Those three forces were very good at stopping Fallen advances. And the very few kind warlords who thought they should actually protect their people. Because many warlords were not good people. They let their people get raided, killed, starved, but as long as they got their tributes,
They were tyrannical and barbaric.
oh yeah. The only one I know of that was nice was, there were only two, were Fellwinter and Shax. Shax is the same he's always been, and Fellwinter was like, I would say guilted into protecting his people because he grew a connection with one of the villagers, and one day she didn't return, and he's like, "Oh, okay, this is bothering me. Gotta help him."
Yeah.
But these were the main forces that slowed down the killing of us by the Fallen. You guys want to jump in?
Just after the Dark Ages, the real big event for the Fallen isn't really until the Battle of Six Fronts. This has been the first major attack since the city was founded, and this was an assault by the House of Devils, attacking from 6 different angles, hence the title, Battle of Six Fronts. And it was also where we get the Titan symbol from. 4 Titan orders defended the city on all 6 angles. And
Oh,
It is weird.
huh.
mhm.
I never
So-
thought about that.
You didn't? You didn't know that?
No,
Really?
I didn't really pay attention to Titans very much.
Oh, damn.
Damn. Yeah, the hexagon symbol on
That makes sense.
of the Titans actually represent the 4 orders, which is why it's split apart the way it is. The large, basically what happened was the smaller orders defended the flanks, while the larger orders defended the front and rear. And I know there's other guardians involved beyond Titans and stuff like that, but that was where Titans kind of, I guess, made their play and
Yeah,
made it known.
They
that
shown.
they ain't having no shit.
Yeah, because like they were basically the walls,
Right.
like Reinhardt.
The only Titan order I remember off the top of my head was the Order of the Sun.
And Pilgrim Guard as well.
Firebreak Order.
That's probably what I remember. Not Order of the Sun.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the Firebreak Order still exists, and they carry the Eternal Flame. Yeah, the Firebreak Order. They carry the Fire Victorious, a flame of the Sunbreakers that was created by Wei Ning and had burned on for years. They actually saved it from the city when it was being destroyed by the Red War, and it actually turned into a ghost shell called the Fire Victorious shell.
Huh.
That's a really dope looking shell, if I'm remembering it correctly.
They don't really say what the 4 Titan orders were specifically.
I think
At least in an
I think there
overview
was
section.
one order that's still unnamed. But
Yeah.
yeah, the battle ends in defeat for the Fallen, and I believe they don't have another major event until Twilight Gap.
But there is, I would say, a very important thing for the House of Devils, at least.
Fair enough.
Is that after the Battle of Six Fronts, Satan 14 really realized the threat of the Fallen and stepped down from Vanguard Commander. He then, what's the word? Not offered.
Passed on?
No, not passed on. Like, he incentivized or said that Osiris would be a good replacement as Vanguard Commander.
I think I know the word you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't
This
know
is
the word.
gonna.
Yeah, it's
endorsed.
Yeah, endorsed. That's the word. He endorsed Osiris as the next Vanguard Commander, and Saint 14 started a crusade against the Devils, ending with him headbutting the Devil Kell, Soul Kiss, to death.
God, that was a hell of a.
And that's where the dent on the helmet of Saint 14 comes from. Just him headbutting Fallen Kell 3 times his size to death.
Incredible.
And that is why he is the greatest Titan that has ever lived. And then he goes off to Mercury and gets trapped in the Infinite Forest and does not die, but does die, but doesn't die.
He did die,
But he got
now
better.
He didn't.
It's like that. It's like that. It's like that scene people made a meme out of from Ice Age. Did you die? Yes.
But then I
Sadly,
lived.
I lived.
Yeah.
Yes, but then I lived.
No, yeah, that checks out.
That's basically Saint 14. And before we jump into the next event, Twilight Gap, I have made another chart of fallen leadership. Just the Kells. At the House of Kings, we have. I don't know how to say that one.
That's just Krask.
Krask. Kell of Kings. House of Stone. Chelkis. Kell of Stone. Believed to have died during the whirlwind.
I think that's Chelshis.
Chelchish. Still bad with words. The House of Winter. Draxus. He is killed by our Guardian during the Destiny 1 campaign on Venus. The Kell of the House of Devils. Soul Kiss, killed by Saint 14. The House of Wolves. The first Kell is Virax. He is killed by Marasov during the Reforce. Then the next Kell is Skolas, who we all know. Because then he became the Kell of Kells because he is very full of himself.
Yep.
And we kill him in the Prison of Elders. House of Dusk, we have no idea who the Kell is. House Exile, they don't have a Kell system. Devil Splicers, the closest we had was Axis, the Archon Prime, which was like the step up from the Archon Priest. He became kind of the new leader of the House of Devils after Soul Kiss died. Again, killed by our Guardian. House of Judgment, not really a Kell, but the leader, Varix, / the only member. The House of Light, Mithrax, our favorite fallen in the world.
I love that guy.
Correction, sir. It's Misrax.
Is it really?
Okay. It's Misrax.
No, it's not. There's no S.
That's how you say it in Elixni. Don't disrespect my man
Okay,
Mithrax
in a
like that.
Lixney. I was like, what are you on about?
Don't you disrespect Misrax like that.
Well, are you? But no, that's not how our English works.
And
No one should really get mad at someone speaking a different language with their accent.
Vol, can you just laugh at the joke?
No. Because I'm a grammar Nazi.
This isn't a grammar issue, though.
A pronunciation guy. I'm
it's
very
not even a
like
pronunciation.
about my pronounce.
Hey,
My
man, listen,
boy,
all I'm
Lost
saying
Angel
There's no S.
is just respecting the Elixni culture by pronouncing Mr. X's name correctly.
Why would you respect a culture of people who have killed millions?
Because he's not respecting
Talking about-
Fallen culture, he's respecting Elixni culture.
Hey, man, listen.
No,
Listen,
okay.
all I'm saying is sure wanted to respect him and called him by his name in Elixni. So,
Who?
I mean, I'm saying, I think if we're going to be fighting by his side, we could show a little respect, is all I'm saying.
You're the one who called him our
X.
favorite Elixni, also. So, like...
You know what I'm saying?
But you know
What
what?
you
But Varix doesn't get mad at us for calling him Varix.
That's Varix.
Right, but Varix
Varix also
was a dick.
let everybody out of the prison of elders and got Cade killed.
Like, I know
so
we try not to curse on here, but Varix was a dick, okay?
we're gonna ignore that Varix is pretty much the sole reason.
He's not the
why
reason.
Cade's
He
dead.
didn't know Cade was going to be killed. Come on.
Yeah, and
He had one job, and he did the exact
So that means-
opposite.
He had one-
And he
he
went out of his
literally
way to do
had-
the exact opposite. Come on.
So by
had
that,
one
so
job.
by that logic, that means Varix is responsible for Uldren becoming a guardian.
Yes.
yes,
No.
Due to the butterfly effect, sure.
Then by the butterfly effect, we're the reason why the darkness showed up.
and
Hold on, I'm still wrapping my head around on that one. The Guardians are just a byproduct of the existence of the Traveler. How are we the reason the darkness shows up?
Because if our guardian didn't kill Crota, Oryx never would have shown up. The Cabal never would have researched how to strip the light from us because they saw wizards do it. The Red Ward never would have happened.
Okay, you know what? That's
I
fair.
mean-
Yeah, we're the reason the darkness showed up.
Our guardian is the reason why all these bad things have happened, because we've killed so many leaders, which have forced other members of the other species, other races, to research ways to kill us permanently.
I was just gonna just simply say that. I mean, it's very clear that the darkness has a very vested interest in us, regardless
Well,
of
so does Abathur.
the right. So I'm saying, I mean, just
It's because of what we've done. Anyways, continuing on. The Scorn, led by Fikrul, the Fanatic, who is still technically alive because you can't kill a dead guy, apparently.
Not with that attitude.
You know how many times I've killed the Fanatic? He just keeps getting back up.
So do we, though. In his defense,
Yeah, but he doesn't have a ghost.
no, he's got ether.
He just
his name.
refuses to die. He's like Tanix on steroids. The last house, the House of Scar, we have no information on them at all.
I'm not even gonna lie. I haven't
So
heard
we-
this name before.
House of Scar?
I've
There's
heard
like
it.
one reference from them in the Ishtar
there's
Collective.
like yeah,
Oh,
I was gonna
okay.
say there's like one really obscure reference of
Yeah.
House of Scar.
I think they were a house that was alive during the Golden Age for the Fallen, but disappeared after the Whirlwind.
Hmm.
I believe they held a lot of, like, they were a knowledgeable house, not a warring house. That's probably why they disappeared.
Oh, that's
They didn't have the man.
That's
They
interesting.
didn't have the manpower.
You would think
That's
with the
my
House of
theory.
Scar it'd be the other way around, with the name like Scar.
Yeah, but they didn't betray the king.
Meh.
Really, you want me to laugh at Angel, but you won't laugh at my Lion King joke.
That was a Lion King joke.
Yeah, he didn't. The House of Scar didn't betray the king.
I literally thought you
Bro,
meant the
you-
Kell of Kings,
You know-
or like the Kell of Kells.
I-
You
I
rip.
just wasn't. I wasn't really. My mind wasn't there.
Like Scar, long live the king,
Yeah,
throw him
no,
off the cliff.
I know what you're talking about now that you've mentioned
Lost
it, but like
lost it.
that was gone, dude.
Yeah, whatever. I also forgot the kings existed too, so I didn't think that joke would.
You get an A for effort.
Yeah. Anyways, so those are the leaders of the Fallen House throughout time. Now, the coming up expansion has Aramis as the Kell of Dark. That's what we're calling her right
I was
now.
about to say we're assuming they could very well say the Kelostasis or some shit like that.
No,
You know how
Stasis,
Bungie-
no, Kell of
You know how-
Dark.
You know how Bungie likes to be like go completely
Or the
left
Kell of
with our
Shapes.
expectations. Kell of Shapes. Ooh, that's dope.
In reference to the the final shape thing,
Right, that's dope. I could see that. I could see
because
that.
Oryx is the king of shapes. and he was pretty close to the darkness. Anyways, we're getting sidetracked now.
That's what we do.
So let's begin Twilight Gap. Who wants to start it off?
Well, I will go ahead and start off this. The next big decisive Fallen battle that we experience with the Fallen is during the City Age. Six Fronts happened prior to the City Age, and then after Six Fronts, the walls of the city were erected. Trying to get ourselves together, and then of course, Fallen happened. So after the massive defeat of Six Fronts, not any notable Fallen events occurred that we know of prior to, but unknown to the city, the houses of the Fallen began to talk to each other after Six Fronts, and they created a plan to attack the city as one massive force. And this was going to be a combined effort of the House of Devils, the House of Winter, the House of Wolves, and the House of Kings. And they were all going to join as one massive force and just attack the city and reclaim their great machine, which was our traveler.
And at the moment, in D1 days, all of the houses we knew of were King, Winter, Devils, Wolves, and Exile. And 4 out of the 5 houses we knew were joining together to attack the city. Because the Exiles were crazy.
Yeah.
They lived on the moon with the Hive, and they somehow lived and sort of thrived. They're crazy.
Good for them.
Yeah. Who knows what happened to them, because I don't think they're on the moon anymore. But that's just showing how big of a force they gathered in response to the city.
Thankfully, as the House of Wolves were leaving the Jovians to come to Earth to take part in this attack, they were attacked by the Awoken, which prevented them from joining with the attack.
Yeah, your wife stopped them.
I mean, I start to feel all warm and fuzzy when I get to talk about my baby, but you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so that left just the House of Kings, Winter, and Devils to band together for the attack. And so they attacked, and this became the battle that we know now as Twilight Gap. And the Fallen knew this battle as their final attempt to take back what they view as theirs, which is the Traveler. Thankfully, Queen Mara, like you, baby, she stopped wolves, so we didn't have to deal with this entire massive force. Because to my knowledge, the House of Wolves by itself had some.
I think they were the largest force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think they would have compromised like a third or half of the total attack force.
Yeah. Despite this, the Fallen Houses did bring with them a large regiment of walkers to engage the city's mounted artillery, and the walkers by themselves caused countless guardians to lose their light that day. So we did actually lose guardians to their final deaths that day. But
did they ever name any?
Say what?
Was there anyone?
Think so.
No. Okay, so no one I care about.
But I know some notable things happen in Twilight Gap.
Mm-hmm.
The Anna Bray's legend. I call her Anna Bay, but her legend was both born and, in a way, kind of snuffed out all at one fell swoop at Twilight Gap, which
she did on purpose, though.
She did. Folks said that when she would cast her golden gun and fire, the power of the shot would leave a lingering pool of light, or left the lingering pool of light that can still be found in Twilight Gap to this day. And that was actually a mission in D1, which was involved in No Time to Explain exotic. However, at some point during the fight, Anna took a fall after getting swiped at by a fallen captain, and she was never seen or quote unquote heard from until the events later down the road in Warmind. And she was believed to have died in the battle due to this.
And the pile of gold, along with the mission that we played through in Destiny 1, comes from an excerpt from the Tangled Wed helmet. I was at the final attempt. I saw a guardian wield a gun that left molten gold in her wake. I ran and never looked back. Arvok, translation from Elixir.
Smart Fallen.
And so, Twilight Gap was thought by Saladin to be a losing battle, and so Saladin ordered a retreat from the walls. But Shaxx was like, hell no. And together with others who disagreed with Saladin's order, one of whom was Anna Bray, led a charge that just cut through the fallen regiments and just led them away from the city, enough for the rest of the battle to be contained, for the city to gain control. And that act by Shaxx and his fire team, I don't know if it was an official fire team, but
I think it was more than just a fire team, but I would say his group.
What we would consider a raid team, actually.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was 6. I think it was Shaxx, Liu Feng,
Anna Bray,
and 3
Wei Ning,
others.
probably.
I think so.
Liu Feng, Ninkechi 32.
Wei
Abdi,
Ning was
and
alive.
Shuz.
She had to have been in that group. There is no way the most Titan-punching Titan wasn't a part of that fire team.
I think it's actually in...
I've got the list right here. It was Lord Shaxx commanded a fire team that consisted of Anna Bray, Liu Feng, Ninkechi 32, Abdi, and Truce.
How was she not on that fire team? Unless she wasn't a guardian at the time. Because the Wei Ning we're talking about, she said she would punch the darkness if it showed up.
I'd believe that from any Titan, really.
Yeah, but
I mean, we all know what happened.
like Titans.
That.
She punched the anomaly in the map Anomaly, and Rasputin hit her with a war sat. That's why I think she must have been just going crazy during Twilight Gap. If she was a guardian at the time, it was possible she wasn't resurrected until afterward.
We also do we know when Twilight Gap happened as opposed to Mari Ibrahim?
As opposed to what?
There is no Mary
disaster.
Imbrium. The great disaster on the moon where Crota killed thousands.
Oh,
including Wei Ning.
Wei Ning died during Eris's fire team, didn't she?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wei Ning was the catalyst, but that's a...
Oh, yeah, she died because Ariana 3 was friends with her. Yeah, but the timeline of Destiny doesn't really have dates.
Right.
So we
it's
take
hard to
guesses.
say. I mean, she could have either not been res at the time, or she could have been present and just at a different portion of the battle that we just don't know about. Or this, depending on when Twilight Gap happened, this could have been after she died.
Okay, so now that I'm looking at the timeline made by Scooby DZ, it says that the Twilight Gap was around 50 years before the beginning of Destiny 1. So yeah, around 50 years. In this case, 57 years ago. Because we're at what, year 7?
Gosh, it's so weird to think that everything is happening.
The Great Disaster
linearly,
was
or not linearly.
Yeah, so the Great Disaster was before Twilight Gap.
Oh, okay, so yeah, then okay, so that explains why Wei Ning wasn't going crazy during Twilight Gap. She was dead.
Yeah, and Eris's fire team also did the invasion shortly after that.
That makes sense.
And that was all, so.
That makes sense. Okay. And Shin wasn't there. I mean, Jared Ward wasn't there because he was dead too. And there's Lazir had already turned into Judge and Yor, was killed by then already. But anyways, with with Shaxx reclaiming miles of territory for the city and basically turning the battle on its head, we survived the Twilight Gap. And also thanks to Queen Mara, we wouldn't have survived, because if Saladin thought we were losing with only 3 houses, imagine what that 4th one showed up.
Oh no, yeah, we would have been.
Yeah, that would have been a loss.
History would have been very different. But now, with Twilight Gap over, we'll take the first step into the Reforce as the last. With the Awoken were the first to discover that the House of Wolves was going to Earth and they also learned of the plan to attack the city, but I don't think they ever warned the city.
No, it was Prince Aldrin's regiment of crows, which was like his sort of secret spies. They
robot birds.
intercepted the transmissions between the houses, but they could not make it to Earth in time.
And I don't think they had a communication line yet, so they had to physically fly there.
Yeah.
Yep. So the House of Wolves stopped at the asteroid Ceres, which is an actual asteroid today. Like, the big ones you hear in the reef. Ceres?
Yeah, I thought Ceres was a moon. I could be going crazy, but...
No. Yeah, it's an asteroid.
Oh, okay.
It has a diameter of 940 kilometers, or a diameter of around 500 miles. Quite big, I must say. It's definitely smaller than the moon. It is the largest object in the asteroid belt. And since it's so large...
Oh, it's considered
spherical
a dwarf planet. Okay.
Yeah. It's so large that the gravity that makes planets rounds is big enough on the asteroid to make it round. Because most asteroids are odd shapes because they don't have the mass enough to where gravity makes them round.
Didn't know that's how it worked, but that makes a lot of sense giving it some thought. Okay.
Yeah, because the more mass you have, the more gravity. And gravity likes to be uniform. So if you're not big enough, you can't have enough mass to make that round shape. So anything at dwarf planet and up, or moon and up, is always round. The moon, dwarf planets, Plutoids, centaurs, planets, suns, black holes, all round. The only thing in the universe that's not round are sometimes comets, because they're just asteroids being flung around the sun at a weird angle, and asteroids. But Ceres is the largest asteroid in the asteroid belt. It is an actual asteroid in real life. Same with a lot of the other ones like Vesta you hear about in the reef. They're actual asteroids that exist in real life, which can give you a kind of like geographic location in the asteroid belt. Because
Isn't
I don't
part of the reef on Vesta, because Vesta and
yeah, Vesta and Aspos. They're by the Vesta asteroid, but Ceres is considered the crown jewel of the asteroid belt. So if you hold Ceres, you hold the belt. And at the time, the wolves controlled that section because they were making their way through. They stopped there as kind of like a pit stop, and that's where the Awoken forces showed up to attack the wolves. There was a small little exchange between the Kel and Mara because the Kel was, what was his name again? Virax was so confident in himself that he basically, I'm going to quote here, "I am Lord of Wolves. You are an empty thing with 2 dead souls. This is my house. These are my terms. Surrender and I will only take your ships." That's how confident this guy was.
I mean, he had the military power to back it up.
He did, but he extremely underestimated his enemy. Because Mara replies, "I am noble too, O Lord of Wolves." Virax back to her, "You have no line, you have no power." Because I believe her fleet was smaller in size. And this is where the famous line from Mara comes in. "Starlight was my mother, and my father was the dark." Because if you know about the Maracina, you know that the light and dark merged with Exodus Green in a weird craziness that infused those few humans with connections to light and the dark.
And Virax, he basically said, "Do it, you won't."
Yeah, that was the worst
Marcel
thing
was
to
like,
do.
"Well, watch me." And then you know what she did? She freaking did it.
Yeah.
Look, and then Mara was like, "Bitch, I might."
I'll do it again, I swear.
I'll fucking do it again.
Yeah, Virax was basically like, "Fight me, you won't," to an MMA superstar.
Right.
And he worked at a gas station.
Yeah.
Because what Mara did basically Mara summoned the Harbingers, which are an awoken power we don't really understand.
For reference, it's the things that she fired at the Dreadnought.
Yeah, they're like cinematic. It's an agent power of like some somewhat sentience that has probably, I believe, been around in the cosmos since forever. And she from the way I always felt it, I felt like, because it says she summoned them and then fired them. So to my point of view, she was like a Gilgamesh from Fate Zero, just summoning a wall of weapons behind her, and just standing there and be like, "So, you want to rethink your stupid plan?"
Listen, man.
So she unleashes the Harbingers on the fleet of the wolves, killing the Kel and destroying half of their fleet in an instant.
I mean, that first blast from the Harbingers kills that half their fleet, and then just explodes Ceres.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Probably, Mara's probably thinking there is no jewel in the asteroid belt better than me. And this is where Angel says, of course.
I mean, listen. Y'all know how I feel about awoken women.
Yeah, I know.
And I know y'all know how I feel about Mara. So
I know. That's why I joke about it.
all I'm saying is that Mara was like, don't let the purple skin fool you. I will fuck you up in this
Blue.
bitch.
I think she's more blue. She's like a light,
Violet?
like a light blue violet.
Violet. I have things I want to comment on that I can't say on the podcast.
Oh God, I already know what you're gonna say.
Do we need a Destiny After Dark section?
I mean, we could. I guess if we stop recording and then say it, I don't have to put it in the official
I'll say
episode.
it when we're done. I'll say it when we're done.
All right.
Good
So
evening. This is
Mara wipes out the wolf fleet, and this begins the Reef Wars, which is where we're going to end for the day, because the Reef Wars may not have many battles, but the ramifications of the Reef Wars explains a lot of Fallen history later on that I would like to show at the same time. We're already running a little far today. So thank you for joining us today. I am the best warlock in the group. Because I think the only... Am I the only warlock?
Yes, you are.
Alright, I'm the best warlock.
I mean,
Vulshok Berserker.
listen, by that logic, you're also the worst, just saying.
Hey. To be the worst, there has to be someone better than that.
To be the best, there has to be someone worse than you.
Do I have a bipolar issue, apparently? Do I have multiple personalities I don't know of? Is that how I'm the best and the worst?
I'd say yes, but I promised one of them that I wouldn't tell you about them.
I'm dying over here. God. Alright, we'll see you guys later, and have a nice night.
Thanks everyone for stopping by.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. See you next time.